Hey guys, how are you doing? Google AI Studio is becoming less and less like a simple code generator and more like a complete environment for creating apps with AI. What's new now is the integration of NanoBanana directly into the creation process. While the app is being generated, AI Studio can also automatically create custom visual assets, such as images, illustrations, and graphic elements for the interface. And the most interesting part is that the redesigned editor now allows you to visually edit the app, update components, make notes, and change images without relying solely on text commands. In practice, this brings AI Studio closer to a visual prototyping tool with AI, mixing vibe coding, design, and image generation in the same workflow. Let's see how it works. So, let's get to the video. Well guys, before I show you this new feature that just arrived at Google AI Studio, I wanted to talk a little bit about GPT 5.5 Instant. I didn't make a dedicated video about this new model from OpenAI because it's more of an update to 5.3. There's nothing really significant or that new with this new model. What are they saying here? Look, we're updating the default ChatGPT model available to everyone so that it's smarter and more accurate, with clearer and more concise answers that feel more personalized for you. Since Instant is the main app for hundreds of millions of people in their daily lives, small improvements make a big difference. So, OpenAI itself is admitting here that there's nothing extraordinary about this new model. It's really just an update from 5.3 to 0.5. This update makes daily interactions more useful and pleasant, with more complete and direct answers in various areas. Daily GPTs with a more natural conversational tone and better use of the context already shared when personalization is useful. They continue with smarter and more accurate answers and less to analyze. So that's it. When you use the same prompt with 5.3 and 0.5, the tendency is that the new model's answer will be more concise and more related to what you've already put in the chat. Because this new model has a better memory, it remembers more of what you've already written in ChatGPT. Look at what they're saying. Instant is now more reliable, with significant improvements in factual accuracy across all areas and the greatest gains in domains where accuracy is crucial. In internal evaluations, keep in mind internal evaluations because this model is very new and hasn't been tested by many people. GPT 5.5 Instant produced 52.5% fewer hallucinated statements than GPT 5.3 Instant on high-risk questions, covering areas such as medicine, law, and finance. So the idea here is to have a more accurate, more concise model that uses natural language to talk to you and hallucinates less. So it's an evolution of 5.3. That's why there aren't any big new features. It's really just an improvement, a fix to the model that already existed. Another thing, it's the model for everyday use, so you can interact quickly. So don't expect it to generate advanced code or anything very complex. It's that standard model that will help you with everyday tasks. This is more or less what they mean by conciseness and objectivity. Look at the question. How do I tell my coworker to stop talking non-stop? In 5.3, the answer was like this. You can talk to him, but telling him to stop babbling is what starts a cold war in the workplace. Then he puts a little emoji here. The goal is to protect your time without making the situation personal. Here are some ways to do that depending on your style, and it gives a list of what to do to improve this interaction with your colleague. In 5.5, the answer is more concise and objective. You probably won't want to say, stop talking too much. Unless you want to make enemies at your job. The secret is to redirect the conversation without making them feel rejected. And then he brings up how to approach this situation in the workplace. So the differences are subtle. But for those who are used to dealing with artificial intelligence on a daily basis, this change might make more sense. As for availability, OpenAI says that 5.5 is already being rolled out to everyone, even to free accounts, because from now on, it will be the default model. This is important. For paid users, GPT 5.3 Instant will remain available for 3 months accessible through the model settings before it is deactivated. So if you have a free account, the new default model is now 5.5 Instant. If you have a Plus account, like mine, when you click here on the model selector and then on configure, Notice that now I have instant and thinking, which in the recent model is 0.5, and here in the selector, I have the option to activate 5.4, 5.3, 5.2, and U3. 5.3 will remain here for 3 months, then it will be discontinued. Alright? So it's just so no one can say I didn't mention this new model, which is actually an update, an improvement over 5.3. Now let's go to Google AI Studio. Check out what they posted here. New in AI Studio. We've integrated NanoBanana to automatically create custom image assets in your app as it generates. Additionally, the redesigned editing tool now offers visual control of your app, allowing you to update components, annotate your app, and swap image assets. Logan Kilpatrick posted the following. Today we're launching editing mode in AI Studio Vibe Coding. Select components to quickly edit them, annotate directly on the interface with a pen, and select image assets to change them with NanoBanana plus upload. A user said the following, "This is amazing. Please tell me you have plans to add or connect this to anti-gravity as well." I'm asking because I started my development in AI Studio, but I switched to anti-gravity because of my back-end needs. Then Logan Kilpatrick, who's a big shot at Google, simply said yes, meaning they do intend to integrate this new feature, which I'll show you in a moment, into anti-gravity. Let's go to Google AI Studio so I can show you how this works. Look, I have my web page here, which I created inside Google AI Studio. And a lot of people ask me, how do you create a page like this? Guys, I'm not a prompt engineer. I always ask any AI to create the prompt for me. So that makes things a lot easier. I just give the AI my main idea. Create a modern, responsive, and sophisticated web page for a high-end real estate agency called Casa X. So what happens? The AI itself will outline the prompt for me. So the chances of having a high-quality website, landing page, or app are much higher because the AI knows exactly what to write. So there's no point in you putting in a simple prompt because it will give you a simple application as well. So this here is my site. How do I activate this editing function here inside Google AI Studio, which is also available on free accounts? Just click here on this little pen, editing tool. When I click, notice that all the elements here on my site become editable. So I can edit directly on my screen without relying on the prompt field. And notice that when I click on an element here on my site, it automatically appears here in the prompt field. So I can make multiple edits just by clicking on the elements. Then I come here and describe what I want. If I want to make any text edits, for example, I just click here. Then I can, for example, change the text color here. Look how cool that is. So all of this happens on the screen without me having to rely on the prompt field. Obviously, I can come here and ask the AI to make this change for me. But when I have this visual option here to select what I want to change and simply click here on the toolbar to make these changes, everything becomes much easier. Because I can, for example, change the font here. Look how cool. I'll put it here, look, Courier New. It already changes the font for me. If I want to go back, I just click here on the little arrow. It's like you have a text editor available here on your screen without having to depend on the prompt field. Besides being able to select everything I want to change here on my site, I have this other annotation option here, so I can make notes here. Look, I drew this little arrow here. Then I can add a text box, a comment here, and then ask AI to make this change for me. Once again, these are visual elements that help when editing and improving your site. Now you noticed here that the images used on the site were generated by AI. They are not images taken from the internet. Why is this interesting? Because from now on, you have full integration with NanoBanana. So when you ask to create a website, a landing page, or an app that needs images to compose this content, AI Studio will understand and generate the images for you using NanoBanana. More than that, if you don't like any image, just click on it. Then this image button appears here. When you click it, look, 2 options. You can upload an image that you already have on your computer. So this makes things a lot easier, especially when you're dealing with brands. Because sometimes you don't need artificial intelligence to generate an image for you. You already have it ready, so you can upload it directly here in Google AI Studio. Or simply, you can come here and ask artificial intelligence to make any kind of change for you. Notice that the image is already selected here. I entered my new prompt. Just click here to edit the image with NanoBanana. The artificial intelligence will start processing and it won't change anything else on my site, only the image I selected. Look how cool, the image has been changed. If I click on it again and on this icon, notice that I have the images that were used here in the creation of my site. If I want to go back, I just click here and I automatically go back. So this is really interesting because you can create an image library here for a specific part of your site, not only with those images that were generated by AI, but also with the ones you upload yourself. So everything is available here, and then you can make this change whenever you want. Maybe you have your project already, but you didn't like a certain image, or you made a change that didn't turn out so well. So you just need to come here, select it, and automatically this image is brought over to your site, your app, your landing page, without changing the rest of your layout. In other words, the design is preserved. You only change the image, the text, or that part you didn't like very much and just needed to make a specific change. Oh, and one interesting thing, I had made the change to this image here. But if I select any other image here on my site, like this one for example, when I click here on the image button, all of them remain here. So if I want to change the image, specifically in this part of my site, I just have to click on it, and then the image automatically comes here as well. It makes all the adjustments for proportion, size, and so on. So since everything is available here in the image generator, it becomes much easier. Sometimes you change the image down here and thought it didn't look very good, but that image you had generated is still available here, so maybe it makes more sense here. Then when you click, it automatically comes over here, so it really makes things easier, especially for those who create apps or websites on the internet. And you'll see, click here on Elementos Visuais, agora totalmente editáveis. So, did you like this feature? Will there be more news at Google I/O and you'll see new features available? So, what are you waiting for? Tell me in the comments. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
And the moon is a dime, moon just a man.